And we are live with a little delay there. But welcome. What's going on? What is going on? Well, we're here.
Welcome,
Let me
welcome.
make sure we're good. Yeah, it looks like we're live. So, welcome to Coach's Corner to this amazing, session talking about something that we all will benefit from when we truly understand it. And, we should definitely have tradition here, and we'll do this again, if you will. if you will, if we will. Welcome again to Coach's Corner. All right. So, this is a amazing topic, and if you missed the other episodes, just rewatch them, whatever platform you're on. If it's more than 30 days past, Facebook removes those. But, we have different platforms we're on. I'm on 3 platforms now, and my colleagues are on multiple platforms as well. Replays are probably on our LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn keeps them there, so you can watch them there. But this is not just gathering information. This is applying it, right? You have to live this. But the more you understand it, the more you revisit it. Repetition is key. So, without further to do, my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach / business coach or business consultant. I basically help individuals, entrepreneurs, business owners reach higher milestones. But my purpose is to reveal the hidden potential that's already within you and guide you to your truest desires, whatever you desire. And it's all about believing in the unseen that is readily available for you. And we're actually talking about that today. We talk about that every session, actually, in
Every
different
session.
ways, right? So I'll pass it on to my amazing colleague, Paul.
Thank you very much, Jamel. Such a pleasure to be here. And yes, I'm a success mindset coach, Proctor Gallagher consultant. I'm also the director of Inner Potential and Personal Mastery at the World Life Education Center in Oakville, Ontario. So I'm calling in from Burlington, Ontario, Canada. And I help individuals, I help you unlock your true potential by thinking from the inside out, and just helping you unlock your potential, helping you create your life with intention and by design rather than by default. And I like to say I help you to live to your greatest possibilities. I'm going to pass this over to my colleague and friend, Lou.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Jamel. Welcome, everyone. We are so grateful to have you here, whether you're catching us live or catching the replay. Excuse me. So my name is Lou Perica, and I am the founder of Prosperous Results. I too am a success mindset coach, which simply means I help growth minded women and entrepreneurs create results on purpose, right? So we're all producing results every day, but most of us do it unconsciously. And I help them flip that switch to design results intentionally using the incredible power of mind. And once you truly understand how your mind really works, then everything else starts to work too. And that ties in perfectly with today's chapter, thinking in the certain way. And we were just discussing this before we hopped on live, the difference between and the, right? So thinking in a certain way or the certain way. So we are narrowing it down to something very specific. So we're looking forward to sharing our insights, our experiences with you today. Jamel.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That is so important. Thanks for mentioning that, Lou.
Yeah.
And speaking of mentioning, this is from a very powerful book, The Science of Getting Rich, if we haven't mentioned that, what this chapter is about. And each chapter is so unique, but also it's all related, right? And it always starts with our thinking. It really does. And speaking of thinking, if you have some thoughts that you have when we're talking about this material, drop some comments in whatever platform that you're on. Engage with us. Share your thoughts. And guess what? You can even share your thoughts live as well. Feel free to interact with us because we want to help you with this material and not just sound good talking about it, because we sound really good talking about it because, my colleagues are experts here. But it's not about that. It's about you making these shifts towards what you desire in life. And with more money, it allows you to do more good beyond your own presence. You're allowed to, you have the ability to impact people beyond where you are, your own town or city or state, country. You can impact the world with more income. And obviously, your lifestyle will change as well. So it's very important. And, it's uncomfortable for some people to talk about money. And there's something I'll share that just speaks to me. You have to be comfortable about money, talking about money in order to attract more money, right? So if you're uncomfortable, you're pushing it away, right? So that's something to remember to kind of shift your thinking. But the first thing that comes up, like I tell you, almost every first paragraph or whatever, it just hits the nail on the head. What is thinking in the certain way, not a certain way? I'm so glad Lou mentioned that.
Yeah.
And do you think in this certain way? I'll say that, right? So, Wallace mentions here, the initial step toward getting rich. What is that first step? You must form a clear and definite mental picture of what you want. Form a clear, definite picture of what you want. And what you want is based on desire. What is desire? Desire is from within. Desire. It comes from within. And you know what desire really is? It's spirit seeking or energy seeking expression with and through you. So you desire something that you so-called don't have in your physical plane yet, but that is for you to grow. That's why you desire. That's why you need a mental picture to know where you're going in your life. What are you creating? So you cannot transmit an idea unless you have it yourself.
I love that line. I love that.
Yeah. That's the first paragraph. And forgive me if I'm giving off a bit of energy today. I'm celebrating my birthday all weekend. Where's my sound effects? I gotta find them. Celebrate my birthday all weekend. So, my colleagues here are awesome. They allow me to express myself in different ways on camera. So you cannot transmit an idea unless you have it yourself. So what is transmit? You're sending out. You're sending out that vision, that goal, that desire, that higher version of you, right? A transmit. Think of an antenna, radio, AM, FM, XM, television. You're sending a signal out, not only to the room you're in or the house you're in, you're sending it to the entire universe. So what are you sending out? More of the same? Are you stuck? Are you sending out what you don't want? So this is why you got to have a clear mental picture of what you desire, right? And it says you can't transmit unless you have it. And I can go deeper about that, but I'll pass along to anybody who wants to add to that.
Well, I was just saying to my colleagues when we hopped on, my office here, which is a bedroom, I have yet to decide or have an image of what I want to do with it. Do I keep it a bedroom? Do I make it into an official home office, etc.? Because I do not have a clear mental image in my mind of what I want to do with this space, This space has been like this, I think, now for 3 years. Shame on me, because I've been focused on other things. But this is such a great example. I do have a friend visiting in the next few days, so I'm hoping that she will inspire me in how to utilize this space the best way. But I do love the title, Thinking in the Certain Way. So, which reminded me of when Bob was speaking about Thomas Troward, when he was quoting Thomas Troward when he said, "My mind is a center of divine operation." Bob emphasized that one letter. My mind is a center of divine operation, not the center. So it was really powerful for me to learn that, just one small letter, that my mind is so I am a part of a divine operation. And the same thing with thinking in the certain way. Or I should say, Wallace is sharing with us to think in a certain way, the certain way. Get very clear on what it is that you truly want. And I was just saying, when Jamel, you cannot transmit idea
Look, the
unless
universe.
you have it yourself. Did I just saw circles going, so I don't know if I lost power or not. I'm here.
You can start over. Yeah.
That line is so powerful that you cannot transmit an idea unless you have it yourself. Again, this is a perfect example. My office here. So, and he goes on to say that that your desires or your thoughts cannot be a vague and misty concept. That's why clarity is so important. And he goes on to say, it's just like when we send a text or an email, right? A message to somebody. We don't put just a bunch of letters from the alphabet, going from A to Z. We put them in an order so the reader, the receiver, has a clear idea and understanding of the message you're trying to convey. I also loved that part. I have that one highlighted with hearts as well, because that really hit home too. So when I'm sending a text or I'm sending an email, how am I putting those words together so the reader or the receiver has a very clear understanding and image and idea of what I am trying to convey to them? And this is the same with our thoughts and ideas. Oh.
Yeah, I really love that you pointed that out. It's so important. Thinking in the certain way, not thinking in just a certain way. Well, what is it? Because Wallace Wattles, the author, he's teaching that there is a specific way of thinking. And that specific way is what leads to the creation of success and wealth. And that it's not about hard work or chance or simply, talent. It's about thinking in harmony with the universal laws of abundance. And he points out that thought is the creative power. Everything that exists began as thought. And the author calls this thinking stuff, from which all things are made. And when you have a clear thought, a real clear thought with belief and faith, you're literally shaping that into, it's formless. He calls it formless stuff. You're literally shaping that formless stuff into form. And thought is the cause and the form is the effect. And that means that success and opportunities and riches, they don't come by accident. They are formed through you by the nature of your thinking. So think of your mind as a projector. So whatever image you're consistently projecting, and you mix that with your belief and your faith and your gratitude, then that must appear on the screen of your reality. And so author is saying, you have to think truth regardless of appearances. Well, what does that mean? Thinking truth. That means that even when the outside circumstances are suggesting lack and limitation, the truth is that there's abundance. There's abundance for us. There's abundance for you everywhere. There's growth, there's life, and lack is only an appearance and a temporary condition that results from past thinking. So if you dwell on appearances, you become controlled by them. And when you dwell on the truth, then you are reshaping them. Jamel.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
Right, because it reminds me of the stick person that Lou has back there on that.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. And speaking of see, the eyes can be a gift and a curse, right? So when we allow what we see in our physical plane, current circumstances and conditions, we're thinking that's all there is. And how can I have this or do this outside of where I am? That's where the curse is, because you're worried about the how and not really understanding that it's already there when you imagine it, and not understanding how everything happens on different frequencies. And absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So what that means is there's a lot going on that you can't see with your eyes, but you can feel it when you want to. And Neville Wallace, I've been reading Neville as well, but they're saying the same thing in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why you got to see with your mind's eye, right? And Paul mentioned sinking accidentally. He was going to say thinking, but if you're not thinking, guess what you're doing? You're sinking. You have that sinking. Sinking thinking, because really think about that, right? And I'm about to mention what he referenced as far as a ship, right? So you're sinking into past limiting thoughts, or thoughts that are limited based on what you see with your eyes and you can touch with your hands. You're allowing how you've been conditioned control what you do forward. And Wallace says something so powerful here. He says, you must have it. This is the vision, right? You must have it before you can give it. And many people fail to impress thinking substance, right? Because they have themselves only a vague and misty concept of the things they want to do, have, or to become. They have a vague and misty concept. So this is where, this was me. I had tons of different goals before I'd done this professionally, and still do, but I didn't know what that really meant. It was meant for spirit to grow with and through me. It's meant for me to grow. And I thought it was just to get things. And I had a misty concept, right? I had vague, that'll be great if that happens. Oh, I wish that could happen. I hope that happens. Like, listen to your words, how you speak, because that's your inner self. And now that I look back, I'm like, whoa, I was misty on what I was creating.
Yeah.
There's fog and it's blurry. Like, notice how clear we all look on camera. Imagine if we use television from maybe the 70s in black and white when it's all pixelated. You can barely see us. Now we're in full color, in HD, you can see clearly the vision. Now there's 4K and ultra high definition and all this stuff. You want that image to be that clear for you. And he also talks about that clear mental picture. I just said this, that clear mental picture, right, you must have continually in your mind,
Mhm.
as the sailor has in mind the port towards which he is sailing the ship. You must keep your face toward it all the time. You must no more lose sight of it than the steersman loses sight of the compass. Wow. So what is that? I had a client call today, and we do a visioneering. And shout out to Sandy, for teaching us that. We're engineering our vision, right? It's just basically living in the wish fulfilled, getting in the space, in the imaginary space. And what Wallace calls this is the thinking substance, right? That's the thinking substance that wants to give you what you desire. And this is what he's talking about here. You want to revisit this often and often. As you get clear on it, go there again. Go there again. Go there. And what you're doing, you're creating the inside world. And as within, so without. So the outside is a reflection of the inside. And the more you do this, the more powerful you become. The more you're strengthening that intellectual factor of your imagination, and also the power of the will, right, guys? So you're focusing consistently using your will. You're seeing it as is, and you're visiting that energy over and over. And imagine if the sailor has a vision of multiple ports, right? And he doesn't know which port to go to next. Where is he going to go? Maybe the steersman has the compass and he throws the compass overboard into the ocean. Where are they going to go? They have no idea where they're going without that compass in the middle of maybe the Pacific Ocean. They're just wishing and hoping they'll land on the port. This is the person that's lacking vision, that doesn't revisit that clear mental picture. It's so important. And it reminds me to do it because sometimes all these things happen in our life. We lose vision, and we lose our true direction, where we're going, what we're creating. So just wanted to share those things.
And the difference between that sailor or that ship reaching a port or the port, right? Huge distinction. Wallace also goes on to say, and this is why we discuss why it's so necessary, important to be emotionally connected to your goal. That's what the desire is. And he goes to say you want it badly enough so it will stay in your thoughts. Desire is strong enough to hold your thoughts directed on the purpose. This is why you really must want it, because there's so much going on outside to distract you. There's so much pulling at your attention every day. And this is why the emotional connection to that, whatever it is your goal really is, you must be emotionally connected, where you can shut off sounds and all the noise and stay focused, stay on course, just like that ship, to get to the destination. But it's challenging in today's world with social media and easy access to so much information. It keeps us very confused. I like to say that, hold on one second. I like to say that what we share, most people, because I know I did this for my entire life. I was gathering pieces of a puzzle, right? The puzzle of life. And I was gathering information here. I was investing in strategies and systems over there. And I just kept gathering all these little pieces of the puzzle, but I couldn't really put them all together. And that's what we help people do. We give them the cover with the picture of the puzzle, the cover box, right? And now you say, oh, this piece goes here, this piece. Now it all starts to make sense, because the mind is the tool for creating reality. But to have you really need to have an understanding of how to work with the power, the power. You need to have an understanding so you can guide that your thoughts. Once they start to go off course, you want to bring it back on course. And that's why in psycho-cybernetics, it states that a rocket fails its way to a target, because every time it goes on course, off course, that cybernetic mechanism brings it back on course. Well, that's what we need to do, because our paradigms, our beliefs, our doubts keep bringing us off course. But we get to use and direct this creative power that flows to and through us to bring it back on course. That's where I'm heading. That's where how I desire to live, the lifestyle. That's what I choose to experience. This is how I want to contribute to society. So we always need, because we're always going to be pulled off course, but we have the ability with our mental faculties to bring our thinking back on course. Oh,
Yeah, that's so good. That's very powerful. Exactly. Yeah.
I was a little late.
Deserves an applause. Yeah, I wanted to add to that. Like when a person dwells on the appearance, that's very what most people do, right? You see the outside circumstances and you say, well, that's the reality, but it's not really. And that isn't being in denial, it's being in alignment with the truth. And the truth is what it is that you want, and not being controlled by, the outside appearances. Because when you dwell on the outside, then you become controlled by those circumstances and the outside. So you have to hold on to that thought with purpose, with belief and purpose. So an occasional thought that carries, doesn't carry a lot of power, but your sustained thought with a clear purpose. And Lou and Jamel, they keep talking about this clear purpose. You have that clear picture of what it is you want. That becomes like a magnet, and that's creative. And so together, like your faith, your belief, and your purpose, that gives you direction, and that gives you focus. And when you think about your goal, you feel gratitude and feel thankful that it's already done. Think that it's already done. It already exists for you. So you have to think from a place there where it's already done, not thinking towards your goal, but thinking from your goal. And also, Wallace Wattles emphasizes that just thinking about it isn't enough. And Bob would say this too, like, positive thinking is just a half truth. You have to act in alignment with your thinking. You have to act in alignment with your thinking. If your thoughts is about abundance, but you act in fear, or you're hesitant, or you act in a competitive manner, then you're sending these mixed signals. Remember, Jamel was talking about, you're sending signals out there. So you can't send mixed signals, because then there's confusion. But you have to, your right thinking is when your thinking is calm, it's certain. You have expectations. Then your actions are confident, and they're inspired. You take inspired action, and then it becomes, those things become, your actions become effective. So you have to act in this certain way so that you can cause yourself to be in the right place at the right time. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. And we've been told this time and time again, and Bob told us this, you act where you are with whatever tools that you have. And then as you step forward, the tools and the resources and the circumstance that you need will appear. But if you never act on it, If we just sit here and you just learn and you just try to study this material, but you don't apply it, then nothing's going to happen, right? Then you're only, you have to, it has to be in combination. So what you're thinking has to be in harmony with what you're doing. What you're doing has to be in harmony with what you're thinking. You can't just think something and wish for it to happen. You have to act on that. Jamel.
Oh, wow. Where is it?
There we go.
Oh, that's the end point. I gave you full applause. That is so good, Paul and Lou, acting on it, right? And, Bob shared that we're just conditioned to gather more and more information. Bob Proctor, by the way. And, we're all mentored by him and inspired by him. And we follow a lot of things he shares. And I never heard anyone say that. We're conditioned to gather more information.
Mm-hmm.
Look back at how you were brought up as a child, right? Especially in a structured education system, right? We're given books for each subject. We study the book, we remember the chapters, and we get tested on what we remember. Chapter after chapter, subject after subject. And then we do that for many years. Then we go to high school, we do the same thing, pretty much at a, higher degree. And then you do it again, maybe at college, you go to college, maybe you want to get certifications, maybe doctorate or whatever. We're being rewarded based on what we remember, right? So that's the conditioning that we have, which is in our paradigm, right? So as you watch these, you're gathering more information, maybe even taking notes. I hope you are, but it doesn't stop there. You have to act on it. And that's why, look on the screen, contact us today. Let's talk about your future. You want to act on this material and apply it to your life rather than just hearing it and remembering it. When you don't take an uncomfortable action, you will remain in that space where you are. And I tell this to people time and time again, you look back 6 months from now, a year from now, and you'll still be in the same place, watching and gathering more information, but your results didn't change. So I'm so glad Paul mentioned that, because I love doing these, but nothing happens for you when you don't even set up a call to see if this fits your needs, right? Because we all want to help you with this. We have amazing stories, amazing props, amazing experience, but nothing happens when if you don't take the necessary action, right? And seeing if this could help you. I know it can. I know it will. But do you see that? So I wanted to share, Lou, did you want to share something really quick? Or
Well, I just wanted to touch upon what you guys were just talking about, because I was watching it in action yesterday. So I went to my public speaking class yesterday, and there were some new people there that were invited through a meetup. So the instructor, the coach, was explaining how he works, why public speaking is so important, all the pros to learning about public speaking, becoming a public speaker. And then he goes around and asks everybody, why did you come here today? And they said, well, why do you want to be a public speaker? And they all give their reasons. So he spoke for quite some time, and toward the end, he introduced his offer of what the investment would be, etc. And it was so interesting to watch. Ultimately, everyone joined, so I was very, very happy for him. But I was because I'm already a member, right? I'm already a student. So as I was watching, I was thinking, something in them drew them, because he advertised it on Meetup, something about that Meetup, that email or whatever they received, caught their attention enough for them to come on a Saturday morning, in whatever 2 hours, to gather information, to see if they wanted to actually join, right? Invest in themselves. So as I was sitting there listening to him, I was thinking, if they don't make the decision to join, that's always going to be something on the back burner, a wish, a hope. So I was sitting there and I was actually experiencing it. It was very fascinating. And I did what I could to help people make their decision by, talking about the class, etc. But this is what most people do. They'll come to something or they'll tune into something because they do have an interest. There's something about the topic or the subject that they want to learn more about. But unless we take action, nothing happens. We just continue to gather those pieces of the puzzle, gathering more information and never taking action for our own journey. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I truly desire. So this is why it's so important to understand who you are, what you are, and what do you really, really want? Are you coming here just because, to gather information? Maybe you're cooking breakfast and we're just the background noise? Or do you really, really want to shift the direction of your life or certain areas of your life? And if so, you need to, because you are the machine behind it. So you need to understand how the machine operates to get the results you want. So I wanted to throw that in there. I went off a little while, just wanted to share that.
Oh, wow. I had to do a heartbeat sound effect because, that pulls on the heartstrings right there. It really does. I hope that does for you, for who's listening and watching. The reason why you're listening and watching is because your spirit, your soul is seeking growth. And I noticed Lou used the word join. You're really choosing. You're making a choice for yourself. You're choosing to grow. And I know what context she was saying, join. You're joining others that chose to grow. And how long are you going to stay where you are? Right? And this is where you make the choice. Paul, did you want to add something? I didn't mean to jump in there.
No, that's great, Jamel. What you're saying is great. It's so true. Like I know I took a course with Jack Canfield, and he said, like, when you gather all this information, you just have shelf knowledge, right? It's just like you put it on the shelf and you're not really using it. You have all these books, and you might know what's in them, but you're not applying them. And that's so, I can't underscore that enough. You have to take that, what you have, and you have to apply it. You have to put it into action. You have to take your thoughts and put it into action. And know that, people are afraid to take action, right? Because they're afraid of making a mistake or they're afraid of failure. But you have to realize that those are just stepping stones. You have to experience, put it into thought, and then find out. Just like someone's experimenting or creating something or inventing something, they have a vision, they're trying it out, it doesn't work out, so they find a better way of doing it, but that's the only way to do it. If Jamel called in his daughter and she had her friends over and he threw out a bunch of boxes and stuff like out on the floor, they would start to build something. They would start to create something, and it might fall down, and they would reconstruct it, build it again, do it this way. And it's, they by doing it, they figure out the methodology rather than, Jamel talked about this right at the beginning. We're stopping ourselves because we don't know the how. And we have to forget about the how. We have to have that vision and start proceeding towards that vision, towards that thing that we want, have that purpose in mind. So that's what I wanted to add, Jamel. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Thank you. That's so powerful. Lou's taking serious notes over there. So
because you can see I just wanted to add one little quick thing that you can't profit off of someone that has clarity and a direction, right? So to profit off of people, off the whole, right, is to keep people in fear and confused. That keeps you small. It keeps you disempowered when you're fearful and confused. And that's how you get controlled. If you want to take control of your own life, your own future, your own journey, you need clarity and you need faith. Fear and confusion are very dangerous. I just wanted to, that's writing down because it's just so true. That's why I just keep gathering more information. Gather the information that's going to help you empower yourself.
Massive right there. We can do several hours on that. That is massive. Fear and confusion, and that's where a majority of people stay. They're confused about where they want to go and what they want to create and who they really are. And they fear the unknown because they're so comfortable with being confused.
Mm-hmm.
It's a comfortable state for a lot of people. And I like to always address comments here. Sorry, it's a bit delay, but Benny, yes, the eyes can be a gift and a curse. I know that was earlier. And with the same clay, we're not going to get too spiritual. But yeah, you're creating either way. You're creating what you don't want and you create what you do want. Why not create what you do want? And that's why we're here talking, because we want what you want for yourself. Right. And, and I'm so glad Lou mentioned that because he gets into faith here. And I'll share a little bit of reading. He says, spend as much time of your leisure time as you can in contemplating your picture. All right. So, but no one needs to take exercises to concentrate his or her mind on a thing which they really want. It is the things they do not really care about which require effort to fix your attention upon them. So things, basically, ignore the things that you don't want. This is where you get conscious control, management of your thoughts, right? Don't allow your current circumstances to dictate what you think and feel. You control the outside world. I hear Bob screaming that in my ear. You control the outside world. Don't let the outside world control you. This is the conditioning that we've been raised to have. Now we're learning to create, right? So, and then Wallace says, and unless you really want to get rich, so that the desire is strong enough to hold your thoughts directed to the purpose as the magnetic pole holds the needle of the compass, it will hardly be worthwhile for you to try to carry out the instructions given in this book. So he's emphasizing the power of having the vision and holding to that vision. And it's not only the vision, it's the feeling of it, right? Because he gets into the purpose part. So he says, I'll skip there. The more clear and definite you make your picture, then, and the more you dwell upon it, bringing out all its delightful details, the stronger your desire will be. And the stronger your desire, the easier it will be to hold your mind fixed upon the picture of what you want. Something, we talked about this. Then he shifts beyond just the vision, right? So once you got your clear vision, and we started talking about this, but something more is necessary. However, than merely to see the picture clearly. If that is all you do, you're only a dreamer. How many people we know that just dream about what we want, right? And will never, and will have little or no power for accomplishment if you're just dreaming about this or just seeing a picture, right? Behind your clear vision must be the purpose to realize it, to bring it out in tangible expression. And behind this purpose must be an invincible and unwavering faith that the thing is already yours. That it is at hand, and you have only to take possession of it. So that's step 2, which is probably a big step for a lot of people, right? And Lou mentioned fear on this call. Fear and faith both demand us to believe in something we can't see. Why not choose faith? Why not? We've been choosing fear our whole life, right? And that's a condition. We've been conditioned to focus on fear and doubt. Oh, I'll believe it when I see it. No. Believe it, and then you'll see it. And that's true faith. Anybody want to add to that?
That was so good, Jamel. I love that. And it just reminded me of something that Bob said. And he heard it from a minister or maybe a Mormon minister or something. It doesn't really matter. But he said, pray and move your feet. Right? So not just pray and hope and wish and things like that. And there's a little paragraph in the book here. While Jamel was speaking there, the answer to prayer is not according to your faith while you are talking, but according to your faith while you are working. So while you're taking action, you're taking action on the thing that you believe in, the thing that you envisioned for yourself. And the mind, it can't be divided. So what does that mean? You can't, have this belief and have doubt. You have hope and you have fear. As Jamel said, our default for most people is to fear, right? We're afraid of something. We're afraid of failing. We're afraid of this is going to go wrong. We're afraid that it won't work out. We're afraid we won't get it. Why not turn that around, right? Because we're just canceling out our own power when we're divided like that. So to think in this certain way means to think only what you want to think, and not what the circumstances are tempting you to think. And that's a real mental discipline. So Waddle says somewhere here, you must think and speak of all things in terms of advancement, because every word and thought, it's either creating or it's undoing your progress. So, you have to refuse to entertain opposing thoughts. When your doubts arise, and they will, the doubts arise for everyone, replace it immediately with the truth that you want. You have to really monitor your thinking and believe that everything that I desire, everything that you desire is moving toward me now. And that's not arrogance, that's alignment, right? That's alignment. Lou.
I wanted to thank you. So I wrote down fear imprisons, faith frees. I just wrote that down because it's so true, right? And until I started to study this information, man, I was the majority. Absolutely. I was thinking about doing some sort of a workshop on the woo-woo, embrace the woo-woo. Right?
Sounds so you.
Totally, right? But when you think about it, I hear that phrase every now and then, and people go, oh, the woo-woo. I don't want to know about that. I might burn in hell if I even consider, because of all of my conditioning, training, how I was raised, the beliefs I have, I don't want to go there. And going there opens your mind. Staying where you are keeps your mind fixed on what it is that you already know. So be open-minded to explore what else is there. If you are not happy with the state that you are currently in, just know that it really is, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. And the state of dissatisfaction is actually a creative state. Because if you were satisfied, there's no need to change anything, right? So understanding why you have emotions, why you have these thoughts, etc., that's empowerment. That's taking charge of your very own journey. And this is what Wallace D. Wattles talks about. This is what Bob Proctor talks about. This is what Neville Goddard talks about. This is what Maxwell Maltz talks about. Thomas Trott, all the great authors and thinkers, Napoleon Hill, etc. Everything, all the information you're gathering, depending on who it's coming from, is trying to help us take charge of our own journey. But in order to do that, we need clarity. We need a deep understanding of how spirit, mind, and body all work together, because we are beings of energy. So if we show up to an event, however we're showing up in the world, our energy is also showing up. And that is thought energy expressing itself. So if I walk into a room and I'm feeling timid, nervous, I just want to be a wallflower, stand in the corner, I'm afraid to meet people. That's my thoughts that are going on in my head, expressing itself through this vehicle called the body. But if I'm feeling confident and I'm excited to meet people, I walk in that room with a smile, confident walk, shoulders back, shaking people's hands. That's the thoughts that's going on in my head. So this is why, understanding that mind is the tool, that everything starts with the thought. Wars start with the thought. Division starts with the thought. So don't be controlled by other people's thoughts. Create your own thoughts for your own journey. I am way off topic here.
No, you're on topic. You are on topic. You really are. Don't worry. This is, it's by divine.
It's organic.
It's by divine order.
Yes.
It really is. And this is so good, because as we all share, there's different things like we want to express, right? Mm-hmm. Because we have a lot of knowledge and we're very passionate about this and helping people with this material. So, to reiterate, I wanted to share a little bit what he was mentioning in the book about having unwavering faith that it is already yours, because you want to live in the new house mentally until it takes form around you physically. Mm-hmm. And what is that new house for you, right? What are you creating? In the mental realm, enter at once into full enjoyment of the things you want. In the mental realm, enter at once into the full enjoyment. So now you're tapping in with the frequency of the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Whatsoever things ye ask for when ye pray, believe that ye or yea receive them, and ye shall have them. So you have to believe first. Like I mentioned, you have to believe first. And this shifts a lot of conditioning for a lot of people, because we become so conditioned to rely on using our senses, right? So see the things you want as if they were actually around you all the time. It's one of my favorite sentences. See yourself as owning and using them. Make use of them in imagination, just as you will use them when they are your tangible possessions. right? Dwell upon your mental picture until it is clear and distinct, and then take the mental attitude of ownership toward everything in that picture. So now you're owning it. Take possession of it in mind, in the full faith that it is actually yours, right? So hold to this mental ownership. Do not waver for an instant in the faith that it is real. So all that is, you're impressing your subconscious mind. You're getting emotionally involved with this. And he says, and remember what was said in the preceding chapter about gratitude. Be as thankful for it all the time as you expect to be when it has taken form. That is huge. You know, we couldn't end this without saying that. You want to be grateful in advance. Be grateful that it's here because it's in one form or the other. And like I said, you know, you might not see it, you might not feel it, but the more you are in control of you, the outside has to match that. It's like reverse thinking of what we've been conditioned, right? And think about everything you see, all the inventions. You know, we mentioned it many times. Look around you. You will see on the outside what was once inside someone else. And guess what? It comes from all the same place. All these ideas and inventions and technology, and even going forward after we leave this physical plane, all came from the same place. AI, you know, there's advancements in electronics, all this stuff. It came from the unseen, right? So be grateful, right? So be as thankful for it all the time. And the man who can sincerely thank God, or whatever religious background, for the things which as yet he owns only in imagination, has real faith. When you can be thankful in advance, what you can only see in your imaginative eye, you have real faith. So they will get rich. They will cause the creation of whatsoever they want. You do not need to pray repeatedly for things you want. It is not necessary to tell spirit about it every day. Use not vain repetitions as the heathen do. And then he goes on, for your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things before you even ask. Because your spirit speaks without words. You know, it knows what you want. So your part is to intelligently formulate your desire for the things which make for a larger life, and to get those desires arranged into a coherent whole, and then to impress this whole desire upon the formless substance, which has the power and the will to bring you what you want. Right? And then he says, you do not make this impression by repeating strings of words. You make it by holding the vision with unshakable purpose to attain it, and with steadfast faith that you do attain it. And you actually already have attained it. So, and I'll skip here. Oral prayer is well enough and has its effect, especially upon yourself, in clarifying your vision and strengthening your faith. But it is not your oral petitions which get you what you want. In order to get rich or whatever you want, you do not need a sweet hour of prayer. You need to pray without ceasing. What is real prayer, right? And by prayer, I mean holding steadily to your vision with the purpose to cause its creation into solid form, and the faith that you are doing so. That is amazing. That's amazing. So that right there, pray without ceasing, right? It's not just saying words over and over. That's affirmation. That's great. But you're holding steadily to your vision. You're seeing your vision in every waking moment, right? With the purpose to cause its creation into solid form. And with faith that it's already here. Believe that ye receive them. Not to believe that you already received it. So the whole matter turns on receiving once you have clearly formed your vision. When you have formed it, it is well to make an oral statement addressing the supreme and reverent prayer. And from that moment, you must in mind receive what you ask for. Live in the new house, wear the fine clothes, ride the automobile, go on the journey, and confidently plan for greater journeys. Think and speak of all of these things you have asked for in terms of actual present ownership. Imagine an environment and a financial condition exactly as you want them, and live all the time in that imaginary environment and financial condition. Mind, however, that you do not do this as a mere dreamer and castle builder. Hold to the faith that the imaginary is being realized. It's being realized through you, and to the purpose to realize it. Remember that it is faith and purpose in the use of the imagination. So faith and purpose, which make the difference between the scientist and the dreamer. So you are a scientist in this sense, right? That's what he's saying. But you're understanding it more. And having learned this fact, it is here that you must learn the proper use of the will. So then we get into the will in the next session. Sorry, I had to read all of that because, you know, it ties in what was shared here, right? Really well. And anybody, you want to share a little bit more of all of that I mentioned? I'm sorry.
I love that because I was prepared to read part of that, Jamel. So I love that you brought that out. And just repeat that, you know, remember that it's faith and purpose and the use of the imagination, which makes the difference between the scientist and the dreamer. And so that goes back to what we were saying. So is what you're doing in alignment with what your purpose is, with what your vision is, with what this thing that you want are the actions that you're taking, the things that you're doing. So praying without ceasing, what does that mean? Like not just setting aside an hour to pray and then go about your day just wishing that'll happen because, yeah, I prayed this morning for half an hour, so I'm going to wish for this thing to happen. This thing's going to come to me. No, but what am I doing? Are the actions that I'm taking, are the things that I'm doing throughout my day, are they aligned with this goal that I want? Not just, you know, sending out, not just, you know, spending 15 minutes. Okay, I pray for this to happen. I hope for this to happen. I have to have that picture in my mind, but then I have to act on it. Are my actions in alignment with this thing that I want, whatever that may be? So thanks for bringing that up, Jamel. So yes, you know, pray and move your feet.
And I wanted to touch upon the prayer without ceasing, which means to me, and how I interpret it, is that belief, faith, purpose, they all have a vibration. So pray without ceasing means don't just pick it up and then put it down for the rest of the day, and then pick it up once in a while and put it down. What it means is to be in that state of vibration, constantly being in that state of vibration. The vibration, that faith, belief, and purpose, they have a vibration. There's a feeling. There's a feeling when you are in a state of faith. There's a feeling when you're in a state of fear. There's a feeling of faith is calmness, allowing, letting, right? Same thing with belief. It comes with the calm state. And this is why keeping that vision constantly in your mind instead of putting it down, picking it up. Well, I tried that positive thinking, but most people put it down, pick it up, put it down. So what is having the image will now change. We all have natural vibration. Sometimes we're feeling awesome, we're super pumped up, we're motivated, we're on this high vibration. Sometimes we get really sad and down, and they go up and down. But we also have this, our natural, right? And we want that, the natural one, to be the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But it takes, for me, it takes being very mindful of where my thoughts are going and how I am feeling, because the universe is going to match the feeling, not maybe not necessarily the exact idea that you have in your mind, but the feeling that you are vibrating to the universe. And it could be that or better. So be open to receive more or better. And it could be something very different, but it's the same feeling, the same vibration that you've been feeling. So I just wanted to touch upon that. So that, again, about picking it up and putting it down, I think the majority of us, I sometimes find myself doing that, and I need to course correct, right? Just like the rocket, to have it. And this is why Bob says to keep our goal cards with us at all times and read it as often as possible, because we need to course correct. Where's mine? Oh, mine's right here. I don't know where it went. It was right here.
All right.
Course correct, to course correct, to course correct. Keeping your vision, your desire, your purpose top of mind, keeping you in the vibration. So I just wanted to throw that in.
Awesome. This has been such a great session, as they all are, right? And don't let this just be information and inspiration, because guess where you go? That's right. We all have gold cards.
Just saying, it was right here.
And we all know where we're going and what we're creating. And we're applying this knowledge to our lives, right? And believe in yourself. Believe that you have this same gift and you're not alone. You're not alone. That's why we're here for you. And you want to learn more, and you want to stop sinking and actually course correct to the port you want to go, or even discover what port you want to go. We're here to guide you. All right. And, Paul mentioned something powerful. He said, walk. You got to walk by faith, right? You walk by faith, not by sight. So you have to move with faith. Leave footprints in the sand. You have to take action, right? Attraction has action, the word action in it. So take action and contact us today, on how to apply this knowledge. And something else Lou mentioned, if you're picking it up and putting it down, you can do that the rest of your life and not really get any results. Right? You can pick it up and put it down. It's like, think of a big boulder. I pick it up, I'll put it down today. But you're not moving it anywhere. You just picking it up, put it down. There's no real accomplishment there. You might get strong arms or a broken back, right? So the point is to have some type of direction, right? Where are you putting that boulder? Are you building an entire castle with those boulders? A temple, right? What is your goal with that? So, and that's why we're here. Awesome session, and we'll close here, but I want to thank everybody personally on camera, if you watched this far, for wishing me happy birthday this weekend. Don't worry, I'll respond. I'm actually running to do another celebration. My wife surprised me, so I'm really grateful, to be alive and be able to share this material, to inspire, to motivate, to change lives. I'm just grateful to be where I am. And, anybody have anything coming up next month you want to share to, outside of this for the people, the viewers? Anything you got going on?
Just
I have something in the works, but not to announce just yet. But it's coming up.
Same here, but I also do want to give a shout out to Alicia. She was not able to attend this week or last week, but hopefully she'll be with us next week. She's out changing lives and building stronger, confident leaders with her coaching. So Hi, Alicia. We miss you and we look forward to having you back with us. And thank
Awesome.
you, everyone. Just want to ask this question. How might your results shift if you held your vision steady regardless of the conditions? Just something to think about. Food for thought.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
Had two
you.
more things.
Oh, please.
I just remembered them. Oh, wow. And answer that question Lou just asked. Okay, answer that question. That's so powerful, Lou. I have a new client that made a decision, that took action. So I wanted to announce that on camera. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah,
And I know congratulations, by the way. Congratulations. I can say his name, Ahmed. Congratulations. You know, that making a decision to move forward and create that vision that he has. You know, this what separates those dreamers, right, to the people that take action. And also next month, I'm doing a gratitude workshop on the power of gratitude. So I haven't set a date, but next month I'll be doing that. It's a free event. Anybody's welcome to join that as well. So just want to announce those two things. And Lou, did you want to say that again so we can kind of end on that, or are we good?
Oh, on 111 you wanted me to?
Yeah.
What, the question?
Yes.
Okay, yes, of course. How might your results shift if you held your vision steady, regardless of the conditions that you are experiencing?
There you go. Bye, everybody. See you
Thank
next
you.
Sunday.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.